こんにちは、ハリケーンフットボールです。今回の教材は、以前も紹介した ISB こと、インターナショナルサッカーブレイクチャンネルから、サムライブルーに関する動画です。北中米ワールドカップのアジア最終予選の第5節でサッカー日本代表はインドネシアとアウェーで対戦し、4-0の大勝を収めました。その試合後のマッチリアクションであるこの動画の中で、日本は世界のトップ7に入るという話さえするほど、また日本の強さを見せつけたようです。実際にどのように話しているのか、チェックしてみましょう。
Welcome to another ISB show. I'm your host Sahil here with Rahi and Roy. Finishing up the Asian World Cup qualifiers. There's only one match today, and we have to talk about it because, boys, it was a match that we were super hyped for. Roy wearing his Indonesia shirt. But, guys, it was, of course, Indonesia-Japan, and we thought it might end up one way, and it kind of ended up in a direction. Rahi, I think you were the one who were closest to the final score, and that, of course, was a Japanese victory.
Do you know what you do with this game, Roy, if you're an Indonesia fan? Do you know what you do with it?
Forget about it. Be like a goldfish, as Ted Lasso would say.
That's exactly what I was going for. You know that day-old sushi you have in your fridge?
Yep.
Take it, put it in a bag, put it in the trash can, take the trash bag, take it out, put it in the garbage collection. Let the garbage company come, take that bag, get it out of your house, get the smell away from you, go buy some new ingredients, cook a fresh dinner. That's what you need to do, Roy. We didn't expect anything different. You could see this coming. Forget about this game.
I haven't paid my trash bill, so I'll probably have to take the trash to the dump myself, which is unfortunate. You guys don't have that same problem? You guys pay your trash bill every month on time? Jeez Louise, responsible dudes, you guys. But this was, this, again, man, I really feel for Indonesia fans, even though this was the result that the world expected. It's Japan. Japan is a world-class team. Let's be real. Japan is up there with the likes of, I don't want to say Belgium because they're in a dark place, but they're up there with all these great teams. I would throw them in the top 10 in the world, probably around number 9 or number 10 at this point. They are phenomenal national team. So the scoreline, nothing to be embarrassed of, but those first 35 minutes, guys, there were chances.
Yep.
Indonesia defended well. Geez.
I want to talk about that because obviously Indonesia had the first initial chance of the match, which is, of course, Rahi, your boy, Ragnar.
Yeah, Orat Mangoen.
Orat Mangoen. And I know it's hard. Look, I know it's a one-off chance, but it's so important to finish a chance like that, especially against a team like Japan. If you score that goal, it completely changes the complexion of the match. Japan's coming from behind in the rain in Jakarta. Now, is it possible Japan would have found a way anyway? It's possible, but it completely changes the dynamic of the match.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to. You see the difference in quality that the Japanese team has. Those little moments, when they're in good positions, the finishing from the Japanese players was incredible. I mean, that Minamino shot off the post.
Second goal off the post. Yeah. Unbelievable.
So that's the difference, right? And you accept, as Roy said, there's no shame in losing to Japan. There's no shame in losing to Japan 4-0. This is an incredibly talented Japanese team, and they showed it in the little moments. Orat Mangoen gets in a good place, doesn't finish that chance. Yes, it could have changed the beginning trajectory. Let's be honest, the first 30 minutes, Indonesia was very impressive. They were pressing, they were winning the ball back, they were creating chances. They just didn't do what Japan did when Japan had those chances. Japan was clinical. And look, they're supposed to be. Those players play at the best clubs in the world, Roy.
Yeah, they have world-class finishers. Indonesia does not. That's something, most teams do not have a world-class finisher across the world. And Japan does. They have a few of them. So that was a major difference there. Like you said, Indonesia had, I could count off the top of my head in that first half, 4 very good chances. Very good chances where they were a couple inches off, a sliding player off a cross. There was the play that absolutely 9 out of 10 times should be a goal. It's a one-on-one. He takes that extra touch, seemed like it was a smart extra touch, and then he kind of fumbles it. And what a mess, man. Because like you said, after that moment, what could Indonesia then do? They could show their tactical awareness. They could play more defensive. They could play more Mourinho style, do the counterattack, bunker down, get 10 behind the ball, and it would have been a very different game. In that case, I would suspect a 1-1 tie, but the game got away from them. After 95 minutes against a world-class team, you're eventually going to give up some goals, and they did.
Yeah, I want to ask Roy. Rahi and I were kind of chatting right before this. I want to take, as a goalie yourself, I want to get your take on Martin Paes, because he's been so good for Indonesia, but he's obviously in my opinion, was a combination of him and Jay Idzis responsible for the third goal, where just passing directly to the Japanese player. And then the last goal, do you think he should have done better getting beat on a near post like that? I know it was a fantastic finish, but
the last goal, okay, the last goal was near post, upper netting.
Yeah.
I mean, he got left out to dry, man. He was left out in a blizzard on that play. He was alone. It felt like he was plopped down in Antarctica, and there was not a single human around him. That was ridiculous. What the Indonesian defense did on that play, allowing that player to essentially walk to that spot. Of course, he's going to plummet it in the top netting. I don't put that on the goalkeeper. What I saw and felt was he potentially could have read quicker that his defense had let him down and come out, close the angle a lot quicker. Instead, he kind of stayed and he waited. And then, of course, he's going to place it perfectly. But yeah, that one, he needs to come out. The third goal was a mistake. It was 100% a goalkeeper mistake. But for that ball to go between the defender's legs, I mean, it shouldn't have been a goal.
And you can't let that happen as a defender. But I want to caution all of us and also Indonesian fans, don't judge the players on today's game, because we know Jay Idzis is a great player. We know Martin Paes is a great goalkeeper. When you're playing against a team of this quality, and like Roy, you said, 95 minutes against them, you're going to make mistakes and you're going to look worse than you normally are, because it's exhausting to go against a team this good. So don't judge the players. We've seen this happen against good teams. Sometimes good players can look ordinary in moments. It's just very difficult, the intensity you have to maintain. So there is some learning for the Indonesian team, which they'll take from, see, these are the margins, right? Against a team like this, these are the margins. One minor mistake and they'll pounce.
We'll go back to Indonesia for a second. I do want to talk briefly about Japan. We obviously have Japanese viewers out there as well. Guys, this team, we're talking world class. Roy, you said top 10. I think this team is pushing top 7, getting into that zone with performances like this. Like you said, Minamino's finish. Even the first goal, like, did you see that touch back to take it to the other side? And then the guy, a beautiful cross. This is a solid team, guys.
It's an incredible team. Japanese fans, be proud of this team. It's been a very, very long time coming. Your federation has done a phenomenal job. Your equivalent of Hollywood and animators and showmakers have done a phenomenal job in integrating soccer into the culture and making it an important part of kids' childhoods. This is all bearing fruit. Everything Japan has done to push this sport, to promote this sport, countries around the world, Indonesia, India, any country looking to build their national team should look at the blueprint Japan has created. Huge round of applause to you guys, because what a phenomenal past 20 years, the growth and the sustained growth. This doesn't feel like it's going to be a golden generation. It feels like this is the first of many.
Yeah. There's a lot to take, because I think for Japanese fans, at times in the past, despite how talented they've been, they've struggled to be this professional, even domestically, right? So even in the Asian region, they have struggled to dispatch opponents so easily, right? Even the Asia Cup we look at, they didn't do as well as they should have. Now, for the first time in a long time, we're seeing them next opponent, 4-0. Next opponent, 3-0, right? It's clear, it's professional, it's simple. This is another level for this Japanese team. And the reason I would say hold your horses on the top 7 talk is because that's the first stage. Figure out your region and dominate. And they are dominating now. Now, the next question is, can you do it against the rest of the world? And that is now the question for this team because there is no uncertainty as to who's the class in Asia. It's Japan.
Yeah,
But
100%.
Wait
yeah.
a second. They have to beat teams outside of Asia. They have in friendlies, Germany, of course, notably. They beat Spain. But let's see it done at a tournament level, and you need that one signature knockout performance. Then we can say that.
Yeah, and look, I want to give a shout out to Zion Suzuki because making that save on Ragnar because he gets a lot of flack. A lot of people say, oh, he's perhaps Japan's weak point, but Zion Suzuki has stepped it up big time from where he was.
Yeah, but that's still the truth. Yeah, that's still a fact. I think that he played a very good game, but if you look at an area where there's still some concerns, it is still at goalkeeper.
Yeah. So, okay, going back now to and Japan, we'll see you in the US. You guys are going to be here for the World Cup. We know that's coming. Back to Indonesia.
Speaking of the US, do you know where Zion Suzuki was born?
Where is Zion Suzuki born?
Newark, New Jersey, boys. That's where Zion Suzuki was born. He couldn't play for the US national team.
Okay. Well, we will welcome the Japanese. They're halfway through the World Cup qualifiers and well on their way to making the World Cup.
次は解説です。3人とも聞きやすい英語を話すと思いますが、皆さんはどう感じますか？難しい表現もあまり使わないと思いますが、ネイティブらしい表現や比喩的な表現はよく使っている印象ですので、そのような便利な表現を勉強していきましょう。それでは解説です。
It completely changes the complexion of the match.
コンプレクションは肌の状態または外観や様相という意味で使われます。肌の色や質感を指し、特に顔の外見に関連して使われることから、物事の様相や性質を表すこともあり、状況や出来事の雰囲気や流れを指すこともあります。そのゴールで試合の様相が変わったというように抽象的な場面でも使われます。
It completely changes the complexion of the match. It completely changes the complexion of the match.
Yes, it could have changed the beginning trajectory.
トラジェクトリーは軌道、進路という意味です。物体が飛ぶ軌道や道筋を指し、比喩的には人生や計画、出来事の進路や方向性を表すのにも使われ、彼のキャリアの軌跡は順調だというように使われます。
Yes, it could have changed the beginning trajectory. Yes, it could have changed the beginning trajectory.
Do the counterattack, bunker down.
バンカーは戦時の防御施設やゴルフのバンカーのことを言い、バンカーダウンは危険や困難に備えて安全な場所に避難する、守りを固める、または耐え忍ぶという意味のフレーズです。戦争や災害では物理的に隠れることを指し、スポーツでは守備を強化して防御的な戦術を取ることを表します。比喩的には困難を耐え抜くや状況が好転するのを待つという意味で使われることもあります。
Do the counterattack, bunker down. Do the counterattack, bunker down. I mean, he got left out to dry, man.
アウトトゥードライは干される、孤立する、見捨てられるという意味で使われます。基本的には外に干されて乾かされるという直訳的な意味で使われ、比喩的には孤立無縁の状態になる、見捨てられるといった意味を表します。
I mean, he got left out to dry, man. I mean, he got left out to dry, man. It felt like he was plopped down in Antarctica.
プロップは物や人がポチャン、ポトンと音を立てて落ちる、または置かれる動作やその音自体を表します。ダウンが加わることで、下に向かう重力に従う動きがニュアンスに含まれ、プロップダウンで人や物がどさっと座る、ポトンと置かれるという意味になります。特に人が疲れた時や無造作に座る動作を強調する場合によく使われ、リラックスして座るや適当に置くといったニュアンスもあります。
It felt like he was plopped down in Antarctica. It felt like he was plopped down in Antarctica. Of course he's going to plummet it in the top netting.
プラメットは急激に落ちる、急降下するという意味で、主に高さや数値、価格などが一気に下がる状況を表し、予期せぬ急な変化や制御不能な下降を強調するニュアンスがあります。
Of course he's going to plummet it in the top netting. Of course he's going to plummet it in the top netting.
One minor mistake and they'll pounce.
パウンスは飛びかかる、襲いかかるを意味し、動物が獲物に素早く動く動作を表し、比喩的にはチャンスやミスに素早く反応して行動することを指します。動詞としても名詞としても使われ、激しく迅速な動きを強調します。
One minor mistake and they'll pounce. One minor mistake and they'll pounce.
This is all bearing fruit.
ベアフルートゥは実を結ぶ、成果を上げるという意味の表現で、文字通りでは木や植物が果実を実らせることを指しますが、比喩的には日本語と同じように努力や計画が成功し、具体的な結果が現れることを表します。
This is all bearing fruit. This is all bearing fruit.
They have struggled to dispatch opponents so easily.
ディスパッチは派遣する、発送する、迅速に処理するという意味を持つ単語です。人や物を送る、タスクを迅速に片付けることを指します。迅速に処理するというニュアンスから敵を素早く倒したり、相手を圧倒して終わらせるという状況で、打ち負かす、圧倒するという意味でも使われます。
They have struggled to dispatch opponents so easily. They have struggled to dispatch opponents so easily. And the reason I would say hold your horses on the top 7 talk is
ホールドワンズホースは慌てずに待つ、慎重になるという意味のイディオムで、馬車や騎乗時に馬を制御する表現から比喩的に使われ、誰かが急ぎすぎている時に落ち着いて、少し待ってと促すニュアンスで使います。
And the reason I would say hold your horses on the top 7 talk is
because he gets a lot of flack.
フラッグは第二次世界大戦中に使われた対空射撃を意味するフラッグという言葉から来たようです。攻撃または武器としてのフラッグは特に遠距離の対空砲を意味しており、そこから比喩的に避難や攻撃という意味で使われるようになったようです。
Because he gets a lot of flack. Because he gets a lot of flack.
いかがでしたか？日本の強さは相変わらずアジアの外でも認められ続けており、世界でトップ10に入るという話も最近され始めたばかりのように感じますが、すでにトップ7だとか、ワールドカップで準決勝や決勝に行ってもおかしくないという論調になってきましたね。ヨーロッパのネーションズリーグや南米のワールドカップ予選を見ていると、そういう強豪のチームと対戦する日本を見たい気持ちが強くなります。ワールドカップ予選の通過が見えた場合は、新しいメンバーを試すという話や、親善試合を組むという話もすでに出始めていますので、3月シリーズまで全勝し、その先の対戦まで楽しみになってくるよう、また次戦の中国戦を楽しみながら応援したいと思います。本日もご視聴いただきありがとうございました。またすぐにお会いしましょう。